Hello boys and girls, welcome back to Dwarf Fortress Lancedbrains. It took me a while to to start this next session because I was trying to think ahead and see something like what can we achieve with this fortress. We have gold, we have galena, we have silver and gold, two very precious metals. But we can't really trade. The question is whether we can trade at all. Because if the caravans come, there is always the danger that they will be caught in such a cloud and turn into husks, in which case they will become a danger and a threat to the whole fortress. I don't see where how can we keep this for longer? Maybe just like it could be interesting to see how long can we survive this. But as a I don't know what how to develop this fortress. What about taverns and libraries and visitors? Because all this is a great risk, isn't it? If you let anybody inside. We could have some fun fighting some cave creatures, maybe. If we just forget about the above ground life and above ground terror, but fighting cave creatures, we can do that in pretty much any fortress. We don't need to be in a terrifying or a haunting environment for it. You know, that's difficult question. These guys are just hauling blocks. Finder scorpions, is that many years ago? Kidnapped, limped menaces, girder language, is that many years ago? Bugs. Okay, no news from Dragon Granite. There is no news about Dragon Granite. So I think everything is fine with Dragon Granite. Yeah, what do you want from our merchants? I don't even know, to be honest. I guess we want leather. What else do we want? Since we don't have any weapon grade metal, ammo will be a problem. Wood is always welcome, I'd say. Metal bars, yeah, we want steel bars, we want big iron bars, iron bars. Bring some seeds just in case. Since we don't have any weapon grade metal, it will be very hard for us to forge any digging implements. So picks, we'll need picks. Toys maybe. They may contain some iron. Well, meat, fish, garden vegetables. Oh, copper cages, yes. Copper is weapon grade metal. That's good, copper. Maybe I should even add copper bars. But they don't offer you copper. Oh yeah, they do offer you copper. We've got silver bars, but silver can only be used for weapons, or can it also can armor also be made of silver? Material. Yes, so here it says silver cannot be used to forge armor. So it's actually 3 challenges we have. We have the haunting thing. We have the permafrost, which may not be a real challenge, but haunting. we have second challenge is the lack of metal, lack of weapon grade metal or armor, and third thing is pretty much no caravans except for dwarven caravan, but it remains to be seen whether the caravans actually really come, because the first two caravans and first two migrant waves are spawned and pre-programmed, and everything beyond that happens on a regular basis, like it happens depending on how the world lives. So anvils, yes, we want iron and steel anvils. That's also a nice source of iron and steel. Crafts, maybe we want crafts. We want native platinum. No tetrahedrite crafts, no. Onyx, Morion, Shoral. Rose gold, milk opal. If we can have copper crafts, I'll buy copper crafts. Copper crafts. Steel crafts. And iron crafts, I'd say. Bronze crafts, of course, bronze. Bronze is also nice. Do they have iron crafts? Yes, they do have iron crafts. Okay, there we go. Bronze, copper, iron. How about brass? No, brass cannot be used. Bismuth bronze, however, can be used to forge weapons, armor, ammunition, and picks. Okay, yeah. Good to know. So bismuth bronze. Bismuth bronze crafts. So let's modify what we want. We want metal bars, we want copper, we want bronze bars, and we want bismuth bronze. Weapons. Yeah. We want weapons. This is one in a long time where I really tell the caravan that I want weapons, because we are not able to craft our own weapons. We depend on the weapons brought by the caravan. Wow. I haven't had that situation in ages. I remember only my first fortresses where I only learned and were not too much into military. I had no metal industry, at least not a military metal industry or anything. I ordered my caravans to bring me weapons and relied on it. We'll need ammo, bolts. Trap components. Mail shirts and breastplates. Helms, caps, hoods, gauntlets, low boots, legging greaves, shields and bucklers. Gypsum plaster. Gypsum plaster will probably be important. Chris says, I heard warhammers are necessary for fighting zombies. It's probably meant that with blunt weapons, zombies are easier to kill because blunt weapons pulp body parts into unrecognizable mass, and unrecognizable mass cannot be reanimated. If you chop off a zombie's hand or foot, it will be reanimated, or it can be reanimated if there is a necromancer or a reanimating syndrome nearby somewhere, some cloud. So edged weapons really don't cut it. You need blunt weapons, maces and hammers. The problem is, however, here we don't fight zombies. Zombies would be, compared to this, a piece of cake. But these creatures turned into husks by this cloud are far stronger than usual zombies. A zombie we could fight probably. I would risk, sooner or later I would risk an open fight with a zombie. But I guess I'll never risk a fight with, well, I don't know, with a husk or a thrall or whatever. Mario says, or something to chop them apart. Yeah, you can if you cut the zombie's head, I think it's also dead, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not sure. But this is a big challenge, big challenge. Stone. We want, of course, stone. We want hematite, malachite, of course. Silver nuggets, gold nuggets we've got ourselves, but malachite and do we have native copper or something? Copper nuggets? No. Platinum nuggets? No. Magnetite. Tetrahedrite, we want tetrahedrite. Mugs, of course, we could use some meltable mugs. Tetrahedrite mugs, no, it can't be melted, but we could use copper mugs. So Chris says, so like Turtle Underground, only fight to escort the caravans inside? Yes. I think that's where we are heading, or headed, Chris. I don't see us building any big structures outside. well, or maybe much later when we have met lots of precautions. Copper goblets, yes, we want them. Steel goblets, bronze goblets, steel goblets. So we've got copper, bronze, steel, iron goblets. We can also order iron goblets. And that's about it. Chris says exploit caverns fully. How do you exploit caverns? What do caverns have? They have nice furrowed ground where we can pasture animals. They have trees which you can safely cut, hopefully. I don't know. At some point, I will want to use the sand we have. Chris says, how about above ground houses in the caverns? Whoa. Yeah, maybe we will. Anything's possible. Well, anything's possible. Depends on whether we survive, you know. Like I wouldn't like to be stuck here without the possibility of trading with the outside world. For me, trading with the outside world is the key feature and the only purpose of a fortress. What is a fortress good for if it's completely cut off from the rest of the world? Like we would need or at least a fortress which destroys hordes of goblins and enemies. That could also be, but we can't even do that. Well, maybe we can. We will have to let the goblins inside. We will fight the goblins inside. If they don't turn into husks before they get inside. Because I have no idea what happens if there is a goblin siege marching through such a syndrome cloud and they all turn into husks. So we'll have to trap them all or something. I have no idea. You see? But trading is almost impossible here, is it? I love the idea of taverns and libraries. This is pretty much all a no-go here in this fortress. Well, we will see. We will see. Maybe we'll get somewhere. It is a peculiar situation here. Sand. They can also bring sand. I think we will have a difficulty gathering sand for quite some time. Survive until first summer and make the decision. Well, that won't be too hard, surviving until the first summer. I think we'll... I don't know. We'll see. So what do they want? They want shields. No. They want blocks. Well, blocks they can get. I've got lots of blocks. They want footwear. No way. They want potash. No. They can get stone blocks, of course. The problem is albatross. What happened to the... No, I didn't pull the lever, did I? Oh, I ordered the lever to be pulled. But everybody is ignoring that order. Diorite blocks. Marius says, off topic, do you like the Anno games? I've never played them. I don't think I like them. Crafts. That's about it, right? We've got a reindeer bull cage. We've got a reindeer bull cage! I think we will keep that reindeer bull. Okay, guys, so let's see. We've got the caverns. Now we need to find a way how to get to the water, because that's becoming urgent. We will not be able to survive too long if we don't make the farm. And not only the farm, but also some grounds where our livestock would be able to grass. So Chris is suggesting seal off the cavern then. Just the first layer. What do you mean seal off the cavern? We have discovered the first layer and this thing which I think is the third layer rather than the second. Because it's on level -8 and -8 is just above the magma, isn't it? So it should be the third one. What do you mean by seal off the cavern? Like if you think that we should isolate the fortress from the cavern, I can tell you that we have done that. I have built a floor over the hole which we dug into the cavern. We discovered the cavern by digging a hole into it, and I constructed a floor on top of it. So I sealed the hole both times. So I think we are good. I think we are sealed. But if you think something else, by sealing off I mean isolated from the edge of the map. Wow. Can you even do that? Can you even do that? It's an interesting idea. It's an interesting project. And I've never done it, and I like it. This idea of sealing off the cavern. Sealing off the cavern and live inside the cavern like proper dwarves. Something I've never done before, but it's so dwarfy. It makes me want to play this Embark. It's really the one thing which is like something I can be enthusiastic about. Sealing off the caverns. And by sealing off the caverns, we could have the possibility, or something like a racing bridge, which we could open if we wanted, right? Which we could open if we wanted, so that we would, I don't know about at some point I have read about caravans leaving through the caverns. So you could actually have trade caravans coming and leaving through the caverns rather than on the surface. Is that true? Could my mountain home's caravan be visiting me through the caverns? That would be awesome. That would be awesome. And Action Hand says, cave in the water. Cave in the water and wall of the rest. Whoa, that's a mega project on its own. Cave in the water, of course, yeah. Well, what about the other possibility? Instead of caving in the water, By the way, I can't imagine how I would do that. Having masses of natural rock fall down into the water. Don't know. Don't know how I would do that. What I can think about is just building a floor over the water. And the forgotten beasts, well, we can fight forgotten beasts. They are not invincible, forgotten beasts, are they? So I have no idea how I would go about sealing the caverns, and Chris wants to link something in the wiki. Yes, you are now a moderator, and you may post links. Caverns benefits section. Caverns benefits provide ever-regenerating resources from underground in form of underground forests, animals to hunt, and fish. On breaching a cavern layer, a variety of ores and gems lining its walls will be revealed. The cavern floors are always muddied, providing soil to a variety of underground plants. Caverns have water and the water they provide can be used in constructions and traps. In places like glaciers, cavern will provide the only source of water and farmable land. Throwing your prisoners into a damp hellhole filled with ravaging beasts is a nice addition too. Yes, it is. Additionally, creating a world without caverns, blah, 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 no. We can have plants, fish. However, this is a moot point, as without mods, Dwarven civilization only use... Wait. Additionally, creating a world without caverns, who would ever do that, will result in no subterranean plant products. In no subterranean plant products. Alright. Or fish available on embark. However, this is a moot point, as without mods, Dwarven civilization will only use indoor farming. And Dwarven civilization only use indoor farming, and so will never form. What? So Dwarven civilizations will never form? Yeah, whatever. Worldgen will stay. Yeah, if you mess up with Worldgen, you are on your own. Once an underground cavern has been discovered, shrubs and trees will spontaneously grow on any where have I will grow on any subterraneous soil or muddied rock on every embark site as access to the cavern. This means that if you find a cavern in one embark site and embark in another site accessing the same cavern, plants will start growing there even before you discover the branch of the cavern that lies under the site. I don't understand. As walls can be built right up to the map edge below ground. Oh, really? Below ground you can build walls right up to the map edge? Because I only know the restriction that above ground you have to leave 5 tiles of space before you build before you can build any structure. And below ground it is possible to build right up to the map edge. Oh, it's interesting. It is possible to prevent land creatures from spawning by turning all the spawn points into walls. Creatures with the ability to climb or jump, however, tend to eventually figure out a way down. So prepare for these accordingly. Flyers can be stopped only by building walls up to the ceiling. And swimmers can't be prevented from spawning without obsidianizing the water tiles on the map edge. The next best thing is to block off access, which can be achieved by dropping a layer of natural stone wall into the water. But the layer, I mean the block of stone wall, if we have a slice of a stone wall which we would like to cave in, then it would have to be at least as high as the water is deep, right? Nagi, do we have sight on all the cavern layer and its edges? No, not by a long shot. We need to explore it, but it's a future project. Note, walls come with floors above them, which means that creatures may still spawn on top of the wall. Yes, so what? Why would you even wall off the cage if creatures would spawn on top of the walled-in wall and interrupt jobs, or not to spawn there where you want them to? So fortifications without floors on top of them should be built instead. Fortifications without floors on top of them should be built instead to seal an entrance from ground creatures. Also avoid completely walling off all ground creatures with only one floor of walls. The game will spawn flying creatures if ground creatures cannot be spawned. Well, I don't like the idea of walling off the cavern. Why would you do it? Why? You will not get caravans. I mean, walling off the caverns is maybe something people can do who get caravans, normal caravans, and friendly sieges above ground, where they can trade and interact with the world above ground. And then they can wall off the caverns and exploit them without worrying about forgotten beasts or respawning whatever, you know. But in our case, the caverns are pretty much the only safe way to stay in contact with the outside world. So why would I want to wall them off? Of course, I will have to deal with forgotten beasts and all sorts of cave life forms. But I will need that, right? What do you guys say? Chris says, well, you still need to deal with building multiple Z-level walls, scaffolding and all that. I'm sure I'm very capable. Yeah, that's... But why would I want to do it? Marius says, do we have a sight on all the cover? No. It just means you need to build a wall to the cavern ceiling if you don't want any creature spawning. It's probably too cumbersome to wall off the entire cavern complex. Multi-level it is. Chris says, since above ground is so dangerous, you may not have water source, wood and pasture. You can still try to trade above ground. Just move the farming underground. Well, yes, yes. Or just for its own sake, live in a cave. That's dwarf, isn't it? Yes, we need to see where we can get it. I mean, farming underground is pretty pretty obvious solution here. But I would farm in dug spaces. I would not farm on the grounds of the caverns, at least not from the very beginning. I would have a party of dwarf training near cavern buildings at all times. Of course. Yes, that I can imagine. That sort of future for this fortress I can imagine. And I think we will sometimes get lucky. Sometimes get lucky and have a caravan come in a friendly window where there is no husk cloud rolling outside or wallowing outside. But as for what about metals? We don't. You see, the problem is we don't really have. We don't really have metals. We don't really have weapon grade metals. Because goblins won't come through the caverns, will they? And I mean goblins, because goblins bring iron. And I was so happy that we've embarked here at practically in the middle of a hostile goblin civilization, where we have 10,000 goblins to the west and 10,000 goblins to the east. Two fortresses in between, two goblin fortresses of the same nation. And then you say go straight for adamantine. Wow. Well. Well. Yeah. Yes. Pretty much. Pretty much that. Wow, this is so freaky. This is so bizarre situation. I only wanted to pick a slight challenge, but I see I've picked pretty much the most difficult thing I could have picked. Maybe aside of embarking, having a necromancer's tower directly inside your embark scenario, which is not normally allowed, but can be allowed with use of DF hack and embark everywhere and stuff, or having a necromancer's tower in the vicinity. I think having a necromancer's tower in the vicinity would have actually been easier than this, don't you think? But I like Chris's idea. Goblins don't come from underground, but maybe an open, a trap-filled corridor to the surface for goblinite collection. Well, I was thinking maybe these levels here. Like I was imagining moving onto the magma level, or moving onto the third cavern water level down, deep down, and having this just under the surface levels as serving, like build with traps and like some sort of a goblin grinding thing. I like you guys. You say, Mario says, I see you try to take all the necessary precautions with every fortress. Just let it go and see what happens with this one. Oh. Yeah, all right. Mario says, Dwarf Fortress is about reading what horrible things happen to your dwarves. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll take a dinner break, and I'll be back in about 20 minutes, half an hour. Thank you for the discussion. I will consider everything you've said. And I'll see you. Well, actually, dinner break. It's 8:30. Yeah, I'll see you again in about 20 minutes. All right. Thanks.